Hello guys, welcome back into the channel. This is the very first time that I race in Tokyo on one of the daily races, and somehow I managed to set a very decent qualifying lap time. As you can see, I'm gonna be starting out in the first place, which is very unusual for me, but it's welcome nonetheless. And I raced this track a lot, even outside of mission challenges and anything that you had to do in the game. I used to just go into the arcade mode and set a couple races on this track because I love this Tokyo track so much that I don't know, it's really enjoyable to drive around, and I was looking forward to finally having the chance to actually race in it in an online race. So yeah, we're starting out in first place. There are 9 racers. Somehow I don't know if it had anything to do with the time that I was playing, or as some of you may know, I live in Japan, so time difference is not always my friend. And this guy is catching up to me quickly because I hit that wall, and I also got a penalty. So I need to find a way to run this out before the race is over, but I'm not gonna worry about that so much because we have plenty of time ahead of us. But anyways, as I was saying, as some of you may know, I live in Japan, so time difference is not always my friend, and it's kind of hard for me to actually find players depending on the game. Gran Turismo Sport, this has not been an issue, but with some other racing games that are region based, they can be a problem. So I'm glad that Gran Turismo has the system where you get matched up with people who have an account in the same region as you do. So my account is an American one, so I get matched up mostly with American people, Canadian people, and Brazilian people, and sometimes a couple of Europeans as well. And as I was saying, I don't know if it has anything to do with the time that I was playing the game, but all of the lobbies that I joined, all of the daily races that I joined, especially so when they were the Tokyo ones, they had so few people, and I don't know, but I kind of like it, to be honest. I like when there's less people in the lobby because there's not there's not many accidents going on, and so the races tend to be uh, done more close together rather than having the field spread apart very quickly, and then you're pretty much racing by yourself, which happened in a couple of these races, but for the most part, it was mostly close racing all the time. And another thing that's kind of new to me is setting the fastest lap during a race. This never happens regardless of my qualifying lap time. I've had qualifying lap times that put me up in second place in the starting grid before, but those usually wouldn't be the same when I was competing, because it's one thing for you to set a lap time when you're racing by yourself, when you're trying to set a decent qualifying lap time, but when you're actually racing against other people along with you in the same track, it's a whole nother story because you have to worry about people overtaking you. You have that sort of stress or nerve-wracking feeling that you can make a mistake. At least that's how it is for me. This is one of the reasons why I love racing games so much. It's the fact that it makes my heart pump really hard when I know there are people behind me that are faster than me, and they are about to overtake me. I need to stay uh, at the top of my game if I want to keep my position. And there is this sort of adrenaline that I love about racing games, and this is what makes it a little bit more difficult to set decent lap times when you're racing against other people. At least that's how that works for me. I don't know about you, but let me know in the comments down below. How do you feel when you play racing games? Is it something that gets your motor running? Is it something that doesn't excite you but you enjoy nonetheless? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really curious to see if that's just me off there, or if there's more people who are just like me. So we're in the final lap. As you can see, I've been pretty consistent in my lap times, and that's due to the fact that I've raced this track a lot, so I know my way around it. And even though this is a rather slower car than the ones that I'm used to, I usually race Group 3 and Group 4 cars, so anything below that is kind of a struggle to me. But since I know this track so well, I didn't have too much trouble adapting the braking points while I was uh, setting my qualifying lap time. And somehow we managed to get a 10-second gap, which is quite amazing for me. Usually, I am the one who has to try to shorten the gap between people who are ahead of me, but this time around it's the opposite. The people behind me have to find a way to shorten the gap somehow. But yeah, we're approaching the end of the race. So yeah, this is gonna be a first place finish, and also the fastest lap for me, which are I think the fastest lap is my first in the game. I've raced perhaps I don't remember exactly how many races I've done up to this point, but I've done a lot of racing and I've barely won any. So I think this is my third win ever in the game, which is amazing to me. I did a couple more qualifying laps and I managed to improve my qualifying lap time quite a bit. I think I set a lap time of 1:31 on the first race, and I managed to improve that by 2 seconds. And I did a couple races before this next one that you're about to see, and I noticed that I was consistently starting out in first place, and I figured that might be something wrong, or I don't know. And that's when I decided to check the global leaderboards, or at least my region leaderboards. And that's when I saw that my qualifying lap time got me a third place in the rankings, which is amazing for me. This doesn't happen often. Of course, later on in the day, I dropped down, I think, to eighth place because there were faster people who managed to set faster qualifying lap times. But to me, this is an achievement in and of itself. Now, moving on to the second race of the video. This one I did on the following day. The first one I did one day before this one. And of course, more people got to play the game, more people set faster lap times. So even though I set a really good qualifying lap time, I'm still gonna be starting out uh, in second place because there's a Brazilian guy who is a couple attempts faster than I am. In this race, to be honest, even though I won the first one, this one is gonna be way more fun than the other one because I'm gonna be battling against this guy throughout the entire race. This is gonna be a really close racing throughout the entire race duration. And this guy, I think what is gonna happen to this guy over this next corner exemplifies really well that the penalty system should use some work. As you can see, he kind of wall grinded uh, along the corner. And he was supposed to brake, but somehow, um, well, you're gonna see later on in the race that he doesn't get a penalty for that. And there's gonna be a couple more instances over the course of this race where he's gonna hit the walls really hard, and he's not gonna get penalized for that. And I know very well that on qualifying, if you do hit the wall like that, or if you wall grind, depending on the way that you wall grind, um, you're gonna get a couple seconds uh, in penalties. So this is a failure in the system. If I don't even know if that's the proper way to say that, but that's something that Polyphony Digital should really work on. But yeah, this guy is faster than I am. If he wasn't making uh, any mistakes, he would be able to pull away quite a bit from me. But I still managed to stay consistently close to him throughout the entire race. And this track in particular, it's one that's really difficult to go for overtakes because uh, you have a two-car width. Basically, you don't have much space to overtake. So anything that you go for, you need to be really sure of what you're doing. Otherwise, you're gonna screw up both the other person's racing and also yours as well. So you need to be really careful where you're gonna try to go for an overtake, as there isn't many overtaking points in this. I would say that the best overtaking spots in this track would be the straights, but then again, it's really difficult for you to catch up to other people when you're basically running the same car. And by the way, I really love these one make races that Gran Turismo has been hosting in the sport mode, because they keep things level, they keep things um, more balanced, and there's no room for OP cars like in other classes that allow for a wider variety of cars in the track. And as you can see, I barely I barely made it through that corner without hitting the wall, but I couldn't help it. I made contact with the wall, and somehow I didn't get a penalty. And yeah, if that wasn't the qualifying, I would be getting a qualifying penalty for that contact with the wall. So it goes both ways. He should have gotten a penalty when he wall grinded, and I should have gotten a penalty back there, because I think the purpose of the system is to avoid people using walls to take corners. And I think what I did back there, even though it was an accident, could be interpreted as something that I maybe did on purpose to avoid having to brake so much, even though that wasn't the case. But yeah, I should have gotten a penalty back there as well. And one thing I don't know if you guys have noticed, but on this race, I'm using the counter steering assist. This is actually the very first time since I got the game that I'm actually using the counter steering assist, and I just went a little bit too wide and I hit the wall. But anyways, this is the very first time that I'm actually using the counter steering assist. I've never used it, and I see that a lot of people don't like it because they say that it's basically cheating because it makes you faster. Well, my stance on assists on every game is the same. If the assists are there, nothing is stopping you from using the assist. I get that there are people who don't enjoy using assists. I am one of them. But if everybody else is using the assists, and you want to keep up with them, you've got no other option. You have to use the assists. So I don't think this is an issue, but I do understand where people come from when they say they want Polyphony Digital to get rid of the counter steering assist. But yeah, this is the very first time that I'm using this, and I love it. It makes it so much easier to keep your car under control, especially so when you start fishtailing. Without it, you would be spinning out like crazy, but with it keeps your car under control and prevents your car from spinning out around corners or even sliding to some degree. So that's a really great assist. in my opinion. You're free to disagree, but I'm kind of enjoying using the counter steering assist in this game. But yeah, this is gonna be a second place finish. That was a really fun race for me because I felt like I was going towards an objective. But anyways, guys, hope you had fun watching the video. If you did like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more GT Sport content, share the video with your friends and on your social media. It helps me out a lot and I really appreciate the help. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.